Hello everyone, this is David A. Cox with PCClassesOnline.com, and today we are going to be discussing how to build your small business a website. Now, this class was originally offered live this past weekend, and we taught it live on Saturday, had a great crowd, and at that moment, I started to have a little bit of a scratch in my throat. Sunday morning, I get up to teach the class, and I have the flu. So we had to cancel the class, so I promised everyone that I would record a version of this offline as soon as possible. I'm now about 80% better, and so you might still hear that little strain in my voice, but I'm going to do the best job that I possibly can, so here we go. Now, if you've never heard of our website before, if you just stumbled onto us on YouTube, please do check out our site. We are a completely free service. You can find out more at PCClassesOnline.com. Now, before we talk about how to build you a website and go over all the different tools and how to do it, one of the things I always like to start off this class with is to give some honest feedback and some honest information to all of you about what not to do. Now, those of you who have gotten to know me know that I have clients all over the world. I do a lot of work with different corporations, some government people. I've done websites for 2 different political campaigns. And one of the things I've learned is that there are 3 major companies out there that I recommend to all of my clients to avoid like the plague, because these guys are the worst of the worst. So let's get started. And I'm going to give you a few of the reasons why. We don't have time to go over all of them, but let's just say there's a laundry list. The 3 website companies that I strongly recommend not doing any business with are GoDaddy.com, NetworkSolutions.com, and Register.com. There's a long list. Let's go over a few. So let's start with GoDaddy. If you've seen any of GoDaddy's advertising, any of their campaigns that they've done, they have a thing about using women, and it's all very sexual, and they really degrade women in general. Now, I am a fan of creative marketing. I like campaigns that kind of think outside the box. I try to do it myself with what I do, but they seem to have this one idea. Let's really over-sexualize women and sell websites, which apparently somehow makes sense to them. Whereas I'm more of a fan of, you know what, you can make a joke or two, but at the end of the day, it needs to be about your product. You got to put out a good product. And GoDaddy not only has horrible marketing as far as that goes, in showing respect for women, but they also have a horrible product. They have a lack of features, a lack of reliability. If you ever want to leave their service, they make it incredibly difficult. They don't offer an IMAP option for email. Their tech support is atrocious. It's almost entirely outsourced these days, and that's, like I said, just a few reasons why. Network Solutions and Register.com, a lot of the same reasons, just a lack in general of features. If you ever want to leave them, they make it very, very difficult. So let's get to the good stuff. Who do I recommend? There is only one company, and they're going to come up a few times today. Now, I do not have an endorsement deal with these guys. I just use them. I love them. I've built dozens of websites using them as both my registrar and my hosting service. And that one company is Bluehost.com. They are based out of the United States. 100% of their support is in the United States, and it's available 24/7. My websites have been down almost never, including, if you happen to have seen me, I was on the television show Shark Tank. Now, if you're watching this and you're not from the United States, many of you out there have a television show in your country called Dragon's Den. In the United States, it's called Shark Tank. I was on the show. You can only imagine how bombarded we were with traffic when that aired. And our website never, ever went down, not even for a second. So I've always been a big fan of Bluehost, and that's why I recommend them today. Now, pricing-wise, they are going to be just a little bit, not a lot, but just a little bit more than you're going to pay with GoDaddy. But frankly, I am always more than willing to pay a little bit more if the quality is there, and I assure you it is. So today I'm going to teach you how to use a technology called Weebly, and it's a website. It's called Weebly.com. And when I taught this class live this past weekend, one of the questions that came up was from someone who was using an alternative to Weebly called Wix, W-I-X. And one of the things I wanted to address is that the reason why I don't recommend Wix is because their service has one major flaw, which is that if you're building your website and you ever want to give it a different look, and by giving it a different look, I mean change templates, you can't. You're locked. You've got to rebuild your entire website. Weebly gives you that perfect combination of user-friendliness. It's great as far as the tools they give you to get found on the internet. Now, there is another class that we have done that you may want to check out when you're done watching this video. It's on our website at pcclassesonline.com, and the name of that class is Social Media for Small Businesses, I believe it is. So you can check that out on our website. Now, when you go to Weebly, the pricing is pretty reasonable. For the domain names, I believe, don't quote me on this, I believe, oh, here it is, pricing. Hey, how about that? So they have different versions of their service that you can use. There is a free version, but I really wouldn't recommend it. I always go with the pro version here. So at $8 a month, if you pay yearly, it's about $40. So it's very reasonable. Their website domain names are right around the same price. So your total cost per year is around $70 to $80 a year, which is very reasonable considering that most website designers charge somewhere around $3,000. So just be aware of that. So what I'm going to do is create a dummy website for all of you, and through that show you how you would go about building your own website. Now, this is what you're going to see when you first start the process of creating your website. It's going to ask you, what kind of site are you creating? Is it just a general website? Is it a blog? Or is it a store? Now, technically speaking, it doesn't really matter which answer you give at this point because you can always make changes down the road. What it's going to do is it's going to give you suggested pages right off the bat, and you can alter them later. So let's go into site. From here, we can choose a theme to our website. So this is going to be the general look of our website. This is the best part because it writes all of that crazy code for you. There is no code in this process. So you can scroll through here, and all of these themes will give your website a totally different look. And everywhere where you see images, of course, you can swap them out with your own images. All of the text becomes your text. So you can go through here, and they have tons of templates. Now, if you find that you don't like any of these templates, and there's actually a lot more that just have yet to load, there are websites out there that make third-party templates for Weebly. The big one that I've always recommended to people who want to go that extra mile is a site called DivTag, and I'll put a link on the screen right now so that you can go to that website if you want to check it out. It's all run by a guy named Jeremy, who's a great teacher as well. A lot of respect for him. So we can go through here, and today what we're going to do is we're just going to create a dummy website, or it's going to be a fake restaurant website. So we're going to call it David's Italian Restaurant. Okay, I've got a bunch of images I've taken offline. I'm going to show you how to do that too. So let's just get in here, and I'm going to put my cursor over this theme right here. And you'll notice that at the bottom, I can not only get this theme, but I can choose different colors, and it'll adjust the colors for all the buttons. So I can give it whatever look I want. Now, for this, I think I'm just going to use orange for now. I'm going to click choose. If I want to change it down the road, it's really not an issue. And here we go. So right off the bat, it's going to ask us, where do we want to publish this website? Now, if you're just getting started, if you just kind of want to play for starters, just use this first option here. And what you're going to do is create a website. It's going to be http:// whatever website name you want, .weebly.com. This is not going to be your finished product. When you're done, you're going to connect it to a domain name of some sort. And that's what these two options are right here. Now, if you don't yet own your domain name, check this out. You can register it right through here. Now, you might be saying to yourself, well, wait a minute, David, you just recommended Bluehost, and now you're showing us how to register it through Weebly. Well, I have good news. Without really, I didn't know it was coming, but not all that long ago, Bluehost bought Weebly. So it's all one company now. So if you buy your domain name through Weebly, it actually does live with Bluehost. So if you want to buy it, you can click and just type in your domain name here, and it'll walk you through the process. If you do already have a domain name with another company, and like I said, if it's with GoDaddy, Network Solutions, or Register, I strongly recommend redirecting it. However, if you have one that you do like, you can connect it in. And what happens is you type in your website address, and it gives you the directions for how to connect the two together. So for now, let's just create a dummy one, and let's call it davidsitallion.weebly.com. Okay, so here's what we have right off the bat. It's the dummy template that we have, and everything that you see on the screen I can manipulate right now. So what I'm going to do is go over all the different tools that you see here on the left-hand side, and then we're going to go over how to add new pages and a whole bunch of other little features. I'm going to try to dabble into as many different aspects of Weebly as I possibly can. So let's start off with up here at the very top. You can see here it says My Site, and you can either choose to have that be just text, or you can swap it out with a logo. Now, before we go into that, there's a couple of things I want to bring up here. If you do not already have a logo, there is a company that I recommend. I don't speak about them as wonderfully as I do about Weebly or Bluehost because, frankly, I don't love their communication efforts. They do have some communication issues, that is, but in the end result of the product, they've done a good job. And there's a great company. It's very affordable. It's called thelogocompany.net. It's $150, but they will design your logo for you. They take into consideration a lot of different things. They walk you through the psychology of different colors that come into play with your logo. And I've always been happy with them for the most part, but sometimes you do have to really press them. And you have to understand, you get as many revisions of your logo as you want. So I encourage you, if you do go with them, be picky. You should be. It's important. And in my opinion, the absolute best logo out there should be one where you can cover up all the text and your customers still know it's you. I try to do that with PCClassesOnline.com. I do it with my other businesses as well. And so far, it's worked pretty well. So check them out, thelogocompany.net. Otherwise, you can type in your text here. So we'll call it David's Italian Restaurant. A little too big there. Let's just call it David's Italian. You know what? Let's take out David. Italian Restaurant. There we go. Now, if you have your own logo already, there's something you should know about the basics of graphic design. First of all, if you want a recommendation on a program to have to create graphics, if you're on a Mac, the one I always recommend because it's easy, it's really affordable. There's a simple piece of software called Pixelmator. It's $29. You get it through the App Store, and it's very similar to the one that I recommend on the Windows side, which is Adobe Photoshop Elements. There's a couple little differences, but for the most part, either one will do you just fine. If you create a logo, make sure it's a transparent file because you don't want white here in the background because we don't have a white background. And the way to do that is you want to make sure that your file is a PNG file. That stands for Portable Network Graphic. So now that we have our title here, we can start to deal with the rest of the website. And I'm going to actually alter this just a little bit because of something that I know that's going to pop up later. Okay, so typically on most websites, you have something called a header up here at the very top. This technically up here is the header. But right here is where you'd have a banner. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. And your banner can be anything from graphics, text. It can be a special photo of the exterior of your business as an example. But it's just kind of a little intro to your site. And it's as easy to bring in your photo here as clicking Edit Image, click here to add the image, and then just upload it from your computer. I have a little folder with a bunch of little images here that I'm going to use, so let's use this one here. If you really don't have any experience at all in creating graphics, watch this. So I just took a generic image of spaghetti off Google Images. Here we have it. And let's say I want to put some text on it. If you're really, really not computer savvy, you don't need to be to do this. Watch. So without even having to leave Weebly, I can go up here to the top and click Add Text. And so now I can type David's Italian Restaurant. And I can put in some other text there, change the font just like I was in a Word document. Let's make this a little bit, okay. I can move it around wherever I want. I can add a shadow, I can add a glow. Let's add just a little bit of a shadow to give it some contrast against the white. Great. So we've got our top image there for the, here we go, save to this page only. We've got our top image right there. So now at this point, I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and it says drag elements here. So all of your tools for Weebly are here on the left-hand side. Please note that I'm on the Build tab here at the very top of their website. So I've got a whole bunch of different things that I can add into the website. And I'm not going to do every single one of these because I think a lot of them speak for themselves. But I could add a title, which is just large text. And like I could do a moment ago, I can make it different colors. I can increase or decrease the font size. Just some generic text. Typically that would be underneath some title text. Image in text, where you have sort of like what the graphic shows right there. You have an image and then text sort of wrapped around it. A plain old image, a gallery, slideshow. Maybe I want to have a map of where my restaurant is. Typically you'd put that on something like a contact page. A contact form, and what's nice about a contact form is that it disguises your email address. So instead of someone seeing out there your email address, they're going to fill out a form on your website and hit submit. It's just a cleaner way to do it. It also will help cut down on the amount of spam that you get. You can have a divider line, which is sort of like the equivalent of a paragraph in web language. It's just a break in thought. A lot of times on websites, you'll find that you don't have everything just go on and on. You have different columns. So if you want to add different columns to your website, and I'm actually going to do this right now, you just simply click right here and drag it into your website. So right now it's added 2 columns. You can see that if I want to make it more than that, I just click over here to 3, and it breaks it into 3 columns. Let's keep it on 2. A search box I don't think many of you are going to use. You can create a button. So for example, maybe I want people to be able to download the menu. Let's go over how to do that real quick. So if I want to have a button, and it could be that it goes to a different page, it could go to download a file, all I have to do is just drag that button wherever I want it to go. I'm going to drag it into the first column here. And you can see it says button text. And just like it were any text, I can just highlight it and type in whatever I want. So I'll put in menu. Let's put download menu. Now, to make that button so that when they click it, it downloads a file, it's as easy as clicking link, and this is what you see. So you can see it right here. I have options so that when they click this button, it can do one of 5 different things. It can go to a different website. It can go to another page on my website. If you use the store option, you can have it go in through the store. And this is what we'd be doing for a PDF file. Have it download a file. When you click on that button, it'll have you upload your file, and that's it. And the final option here is you can have it trigger an email. Just understand that if you use this option, people can see your real email address, and it can lead to spam. So just be aware of that. Let's close that out for now. Other things you can do here, you can load HD video. Now, a little warning about doing that, that's going to take up a lot of space, and you might want to instead consider uploading your video down here to YouTube. Because YouTube is very lightweight, it only will load the video if they click on it, and YouTube has great social media benefits too. After all, it's how we built up our following. You can add an audio file, strong warning about that. Just it can be very distracting. I used to have a client who insisted on having the sound of crashing waves in the background until he got in a million emails from people saying, why did you do that? If people are listening to music while they're on your website, it's very distracting. Don't do it. You can have a document. It's just another way that you can allow people to download files. Flash, warning, try not to use Flash. If you try to view your website on a mobile device, certain mobile devices, it won't load. Another file type here. I don't know why they give you so many different options. They're all basically the same thing. Similar. E-commerce options. So you can have product. This is where it ties in with the store. We're going to be talking about this more later. Google AdSense, I recommend staying away from. It's going to put ads in your website. Stay away from it. It's not worth the couple pennies that you'll get a year from doing it. Also, you have a few other options down here. Some of these are actually really creative and great for certain types of businesses, like a block quote if you're trying to put in testimonials. For those of you who like to add your own code, guess what? You still can. There's an embed code button in which you can copy and paste HTML script in, and it will take. So maybe you want to add a counter to your website, count how many people have visited your website. You could do that. Now, there are other ways to do it that are not so public, but that is one example. You can add a poll, social icons that tie into things like LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, etc., an RSVP form, a survey, booking ability, a feed reader, most of you probably won't do that, and a form. So, as I said, with any of these, whenever you want to throw it into your website, it's as easy as taking the item here and just dragging and dropping it wherever you want it to go. So let's just throw a couple of quick items in here just so that we can build on what we've done. And I'm going to show you how easy it is down the road if you want to make changes to your website, how you can do that. So we'll say, try our yummy sausages. I never type correctly when I'm doing these classes. Now, let's say I don't want this to be perfectly split down the middle. Just like if this were an Excel document, you can grab this bar right in the center and drag it left or right. You don't have to put in any numbers like you have to do in a lot of the versions of Dreamweaver. You can really just drag and drop it however you want and it'll stick. It's very, very friendly. So as you do this, you're going to start to build your website. Now you're going to start to get into some of the other aspects. And so let's go up here to the very top of the website under Design. Okay, now let's say I want to give it a fresh new look after my website has been live for maybe a year. Well, in Wix, this is the part that you cannot do. Now, I could just change the colors of the buttons, but maybe I want to get really creative with this. Maybe I want to give it just a completely different new look. All I have to do is click Change Theme and watch how easy it is. We're back to that page we were on at the very beginning. So now let's say I want to go in and I want to try this theme right here. So I click Choose. And if I want to just see how it looks, I can hit Preview instead. So I click Choose. And just like that, you can see it's changed the whole look. Now, one strange issue I have found is that sometimes for this image right here, you may have to reload it for some strange reason. But otherwise, you can see that the image I put down here, the menu, all of that content is still there. It just changed the overall look of the site. Still don't know why do they still not keep that so that that alters. But for the most part, it's a great, easy way to give your site a fresh new look every now and then. Let's go back to the design we actually had a minute ago. Let's go back. Where was it? It was up here somewhere. Here we go. Choose. Okay, and it all comes right back. Strange how it did that. Okay. Other aspects here under design, you can see here there are these little simple checkboxes where you can put your phone number. That is, if you look up here at the top, it says add text. That's where I'd put the phone number. Social icons are right up here. All you have to do is type in those addresses, so facebook.com/yourrestaurant. You can change the font. So let's say I really don't like this kind of curvy script-like text. I can go here into Change Fonts, and these are the fonts for every type of text in your website. And you can choose whatever font you like. So if I want to go into Site Title, you can kind of see they give you a very good selection of different fonts. Okay, you can choose however you want. Make it larger, smaller, change the color up. So maybe I want to give that a red look. There you go. A couple other features I want to go over here under Pages. Now this is where you're going to go when you start to add additional pages to your website. And to add a page, it's as simple as clicking Add Page. Very simple. There are 4 different types of pages you can have: a standard page, a blog, a store, or an external link. So I think we all know what a standard page is. A blog is a blog. You're going to be blogging about something. Store is where you're going to be selling items. This is an extra paid feature. So you're going to be going above and beyond the $70 to $80 a year to do that feature. And external link means that when they click that button, it's going to go to a different website. So let's just go to a standard page for now. And maybe I want to put a testimonials page. So I type in testimonials. And here you'll see that you have 4 different layout options for the top portion of your website. We have the tall header, which is sort of like the one that you saw on the home page. A short header, which is just half the size. No header, so you're getting just to the guts of whatever your website is. Or a landing page, which is sort of like a split. You have a photo on one side, text, and a button on the right-hand side. You can choose whatever you want. For this, if I'm going to be doing a testimonials page, what I might do is do a landing page and make this a really big standout quote at the top. Maybe a celebrity comes in one day and I want to really show off how happy they were. So I'd click Save and Edit. And actually, before we do, let's go over these right here. Not every page that you create, you may or may not want to show up in that bar at the top of your website. So if you don't want it to show up, you just check this box to hide it. Also, maybe you have a page that you only want to be seen by certain people, maybe employees. Well, for that, you could password protect the page. It's one password for everyone, so just be aware of that. And so you click this and make that available. Another thing I want to show you how to do is how to reorder pages, because when you're building a website, there's a couple standard ways that you would do these things. Homepage is always the first page. About is almost always the second. Contact is almost always the last. So you can see right now here we have testimonials as the last page. All you have to do is click, drag, and drop. And now contact is the final page. The other piece I do want to show you, let's go into testimonials real quick so you can see kind of generically how it looks, is sometimes when you're building a website, you don't want a page to show up here, but you want it to appear as a sub page. So when I hover over About, I want another option or 2 to drop down. Okay, here's how you do that. We're going to go back to the Pages tab. And all you have to do, let's say I want testimonials to be a sub page of About. All I have to do is click and drag it to the right. And see how it snaps right there? Well, now watch how it looks. It's gone from up here, but when I hover over About, it shows up right beneath it. And that's how you do that. So I put in my amazing, love this food all day long. Yum, yum. Wow, that was poetic, wasn't it? Must have been a really intelligent celebrity that left that one. Let's go back here. Let's actually go under Store real quick. Now, Store is an option if you want to do it, but you can sell products very easily right through your website. And what's great is they do walk you through everything. They also have quite a few nice features, like you can add coupons. So maybe you want to have a coupon that you throw out there to people only who spend, I don't know, over $100, or just to your top 10 customers. You can email them a special coupon. Just an example that I could think of. So you really walk through any of these options here. You import images of your products, and it's really easy. It's a very easy way to sell online without needing to resort to services like PayPal, which are a nightmare in many cases. So you can check that out on your own. Finally, I want to go here under Settings and talk about a few of the things that you're going to find here. So we have a couple different options here. Under General, this is where you're going to find the actual site address. So if you start building your website, as I've done here, where you're building it on a Weebly.com site and then eventually want to change it, you just click here to change, and here are those options that we had at the very beginning. So you can connect it to your domain name, and they walk you through everything. Site title, okay? It's very important that in your site title you want every possible keyword that you could have, but have it be a real sentence. So maybe it would be David's Italian Restaurant in Provincetown, Massachusetts, or wherever you're located, just as an example. Favicon. For those of you who don't know what a favicon is, if you look at the top left of my site, you see this little W? Well, that's Weebly's favicon. It's just a little teeny tiny icon. If they bookmark your website, it's going to show up there. I believe it's a 16 by 16 pixel image. So you're going to have to custom create that. If you have any pages that are password protected, this is where you're going to go to create that password. Here under store is where you're going to put in, it just takes you back to the store settings. We don't really need to go over that. SEO. This part is really crucial. Okay. SEO, search engine optimization. If you want to be found on Google, this is one of the many places that you need to put time into putting your keywords and get a really, really solid description of your business. So let me just give you some basic information here. Your site description is 1 to 2 sentences long telling people about your website or what you offer. You want to include location information if that is relevant to what you do, as many possible keywords as possible. Yeah, that made sense. Don't worry about it. Meta keywords, okay? These can be individual words or phrases. So it might be Italian, comma, restaurant, comma, Italian restaurant, comma, the location. So you can put in as many as you want. Just think like you are Google. What are going to be the keywords that are going to kind of make up your website? Footer code and header code, many of you probably won't use, and I don't think you even need to go over 301 redirects. Mobile. This part is awesome. Now, I have met people in my little journey on this thing called life. I've met people who charge as much as $2,000 just to build a mobile version of someone's website. They make it sound like it's this big, complicated process. It's not. It takes 2 seconds. All you have to do on Weebly to create a mobile website, and they give you options to do this for both iPhone and Android. So that's an important factor. And this just means that if someone goes to your site on any of those smartphones, it's going to change the look of the website so that it's really friendly for a smaller screen. All you have to do is if you look up here at the top right of my screen, you'll notice that there are 2 buttons. One is a desktop and one is a mobile phone. To have a mobile option, just check this box and then switch over to mobile mode. Now, it's going to automatically bring in your information, but what's great about the way this works is if you make alterations on the mobile version of your website, it will not affect the desktop version. So if you really just want to get down to the nitty-gritty, you can delete all of your images. You can get down to just, here's the menu, here's the phone number, check us out, and maybe a couple reviews. But you really want your mobile website to be very, very simple. So you can go through here, and just like you were building the desktop version, you've got a little iPhone right here. If you want to try the Android version, look down here at the bottom right of my screen. You'll see instead of an Apple logo, we have a Droid logo. So here we have our Galaxy S4 model, and you can create the exact same thing. You can navigate it yourself and see just kind of how it works. It's really, really easy to do this. And of course, when you're done with everything, you just click Publish, and it's done. Very, very easy. What other features here do I want to go over? Editors. Okay, this is an important factor I want to go over and give a little shout out to a colleague of mine. When you're building your website, it's important that you do a good job. And not everyone out there is great at creating graphics. So sometimes what I'll find that some clients will do is they like using Weebly because they can update it very simply. But they want the actual website to be designed by a professional. And so if that's the way that you would like to do your website, I will make a personal recommendation. This individual is a colleague of mine, a friend, and when I was on Shark Tank, we were on the phone probably every 10 minutes because this guy is my godsend, okay? He is the guru of web design. His name is Mark Collier, and his website is bigbluedesigns.com. One of the things that Mark does offer along with his team is they will build you an entire Weebly website And then by doing that, you get this amazingly polished product that looks incredible. They also do graphic design, by the way. So if you don't want to go with the logo company, Big Blue Designs does charge a little bit more, but that being said, the results tend to be better too. So they offer that. But Mark will build the whole website for you, and then you can make changes to it as necessary. He's a great guy, incredibly professional, great communicator, and I'm clearly a very big fan. So you can check out his website. It's bigbluedesigns.com. His email is mark@bigbluedesigns.com. If you don't mind telling him that David from PC Classes Online sent you, of course I appreciate it. Also down here, you'll see you have an archive and unpublish option. So if you want to create a zip file of your website, you can create an archive just by clicking that. The only reason why you don't see a unpublish button is because I haven't published this website yet, because it's not real. So that is the majority of really how you build a website. And as you can see, it's very simple. It becomes fun after a while, and you just play with it, and it's incredible what you can build. And finally, I do want to give another shout out to, if you do this process, if you build your own website, I strongly urge you to go to our website at pcclassesonline.com and take another class of ours, which is called Social Media for Small Businesses. And what I talk about in that class is all of the tricks that I use to boost someone's social media reach. So what that means is that if you go on your phone and you say, show me Italian restaurants near me, there is an actual way that it figures out who's number 1 and who's number 10. And so I'm giving you in that class all of these tricks to get to the top. And a lot of them are really helpful. Many people out there will charge thousands of dollars to give you the same information that we're giving you for free. So I hope you check that out. Finally, one last thing before we go. If you happen to have been watching this video on YouTube, please, if you click that little like button on YouTube, we actually get paid by Google to create these videos. So we really appreciate it if you do that. And if you share this video with your friends on social media, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, we appreciate that also. This is David A. Cox with PCClassesOnline.com. Please check out our website if you haven't done so already, and we'll see you next time. That's all, everyone. Take care.